Well, he might have landed, but Will Smith, he knew the world was watching. He is an actor, right? He's a megastar actor. And the guy on stage is a performer too. And the whole thing is a performance. So, look, maybe he was angry on behalf of his wife sitting next to him, although he grinned when the joke was first made.
Yeah. Well, we're joined now by showbiz journalist Ellie Phillips, as we traditionally are on a Monday at this time. But of course, we've got a lot to talk about today from Ellie, who's had very limited sleep in the last 48 hours. How are you?
I'm all right, actually. I'm feeling quite buzzing with it all, to be honest, because it's just so much is going on. I said to you, like, off air, it's a little bit like the general elections for the world of showbiz. So you kind of want to be there, you want to see it through, you want to see how it develops, and it was definitely worth staying up for last night.
Yeah, a lot of the talk before the ceremony was whether it was still relevant in this day and age. Was it going to engage a TV audience? And whether some might say by intention or coincidentally, it did certainly engage people and has done today. Let's start with that slap. Will Smith was really apologetic about it in his acceptance speech. He, of course, hit Chris Rock, or slapped Chris Rock, after Chris made derogatory comments about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and her alopecia. We've got a snippet of Will Smith's acceptance speech because he won the award for King William just minutes after the slap.
Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said. I look like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things.
I don't know how much of an excuse that is or not. What did you think about the contrast between seeing him, assault someone, let's be honest about it, on stage, to then saying that in his acceptance speech just minutes later?
Speech was so confusing because this is a man who's like a great orator, and you expect he's going to come out with this incredible speech that, let's be honest, he's probably been planning for like a month, because he was the guaranteed winner for this award, and it was definitely not the speech he was going to give. And he went off on tangents, and he kind of tried to bring his mum into it, and defending women, and it was a little bit odd. And the thing you pointed out there when he said, love makes you do crazy things. Love doesn't make you hit another individual. That's not love. Like, violence should not be included in love.
Maybe it does after too many pints on a Saturday night, but not in front of millions of viewers, right? From someone who has definitely had his struggles in the past. We learnt that from Will Smith's autobiography. But to lose it like that, and I think we all thought, I thought it was a joke until I saw his face afterwards, until he sat back down and he looked like he was really
I think that's
struggling.
the thing. It is really concerning how easily triggered he was to go from 0 to 100 like that. I didn't think it was faked because I saw Jada's reaction straight away. She rolled her eyes and was like, oh, here we go. He was laughing, and that seemed confusing. But actually what's emerging now are reports that Will was actually there during the rehearsals when Chris first made the joke. So Will had actually heard the joke already, according to reports and sources in LA, and kind of laughed it off and thought it was funny. Because in context, before Chris made the jibe at Jada, he'd actually been poking fun at Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz because they were both up for Best Actor and Best Actress.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, if one of you win, what's the other one going to do? And then he kind of compared them to, oh, Will, you're up for Best Actor. What are you going to do? And the point was that we thought was being made is he was going, oh, you're up for Best Actor too, but Jada, you've not really done anything of significance, so you might be in G.I. Jane too. And then, yes, that's where the connotations of the hair come in. Because
So did Chris Rock, sorry to interrupt, did he go further during the live show than during the rehearsal?
I don't think so, because you've also got to remember as well, when he made the joke to Jada, he actually said to her, I love you, Jada, but, I'll see you G.I. Jane too. So I think he did say, that wasn't even that bad. It was kind of soft. Maybe he didn't realise how much it would affect her, or it would, really touch a nerve. And maybe he wasn't aware of the alopecia. I find that difficult to believe. They move in close circles.
But then you have to wonder why, if Will Smith's heard the joke already, why he suddenly flew off the handle like that.
Because maybe he thought the joke was, oh, he's just poking fun at the fact that Jada isn't as accomplished in her, acting career in terms of the stature of the films that she's been in and things like that. And that was the joke. Because to be honest, when I first heard it, that's immediately what my reaction was until I remembered, oh, yeah, Demi Moore shaved her head for this role.
Right.
And, Jada's got the shaved head. Actually, yeah, that's not that nice. And I think that's why when Will laughed, Jada looked really like, just flustered and annoyed about the situation. Something then happened that we didn't see on camera, where his mood switched from being amused to being furious.
So furious that he hit Chris Rock on the stage. What's been the reaction from it amongst the Hollywood community? Liam Payne has been going viral for his comments, but not because of his words, but rather than his accent. Let's have a listen.
I believe whatever he felt that he did, he had the right to do. I also felt there were 3 losers in one fight. He didn't know, being Chris Rock. He didn't want to do what he had to do, being Will Smith. And she did nothing, being Jada. And it's a very sad thing, but there was a powerful moment for me to sit and watch one of the world's best emoters ever we've seen speak from the heart. And I would rather take the beauty out of the situation than take the pain. But I had to leave my chair, I'll be honest with you. It cut me really deep.
Well, I'd rather take the beauty than the pain out of the situation. She did nothing, in reference to Jada. 3 losers in one fight. I mean, the accent's hilarious, right? Because what is going on
What is
there?
that accent? I mean, it's crazy.
But also, who told Liam Payne to keep talking?
I know. And he says quite a few times during this interview, oh, I don't really want to get into it. I don't really want to give my opinion. But then he's
Oh, well, you
basically
did.
like, well, I think if Will thinks he needed to do it, then he probably needed to do it. And you're like, oh, okay. And also he gushed about how amazing Will is and how his films have impacted his life. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people are looking at this going, gosh, Will Smith, so accomplished. We've always known him as this family man, this pillar of, goodness, if you will. And maybe they have some, questionable lifestyle preferences, but overall, good father. And then suddenly it seems like a mask has fallen off in the worst possible way at the worst possible time. This should have been the biggest night of his career, and it was, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, don't ask Liam Payne for a comment on things like that in the future, I think is the moral of the story
Yes.
there. Let's talk about the awards. We must get onto this. So Coda was the surprise winner, wasn't it, of Best Film?
Yeah, so Coda took the best film. I was delighted for it. It's literally my favourite of all of them. And it was, when the season began, the award season, it was, an underdog, and then it just came through. And it actually won 3 awards on the night. And it's the second ever film in Oscars history to win all the awards that it was nominated for. So that's a massive achievement as well. Because if you think of it on the other hand, a film like Power of the Dog was nominated for 12 but only won 1. So it's quite impressive to win more than 1 if you're up for it. It won 3. Troy Kotsur won Best Supporting Actor for his role in Coda. And that makes him the first male actor to win, a deaf actor, to win an Oscar for an acting role. There was a woman that won one previously many, many years ago, decades ago, but he's the first man to win one who's deaf, which is amazing.
It's a remake of a French film.
Yes.
And my French friend's furious about this, by the way, because she just says that the original's great enough.
Right.
And that this is a bit of a token nomination because it's because there's a very kind of serious message in it, and it basically highlights what it's like to be part of a family, part of a deaf family, or to be involved with people who have hearing problems. And so it is a really important message. Yeah. But I think some people are saying, well, it's a great film, it's very nice. I know that here the show's been a big fan of it as well. But did it deserve to win?
100%.
Okay.
Like I absolutely loved it, and I think there is always that thing. If you're remaking a film, will it be as good? But I think it's just great to bring it to a new generation and a new audience, and sometimes that does take a new version of the film. Look at West Side Story. The original was phenomenal. Do they need a new West Side Story? No, but it's reached new audiences. And then Ariana DeBose, she won the award for supporting actress. And again, she made history. She's the first openly queer woman of colour to win an Oscar. So I just think sometimes these things evolve, and to present them in new ways to new audiences, I don't think it's necessarily always a bad thing. Sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they're done and you're like, oh God, that remake was not the best. But I think these have been really good.
One other award of note, who do we need to mention? Jane Campion, The Power of the Dog, or any other surprises, anything you want to mention?
I don't think there was any surprises. I mean, I think Jessica Chastain was always going to win it. She won Best Actress. She was amazing. Eyes of Tammy Faye. And I think Kenneth Branagh, when he won... He won best screenplay,
didn't he, for
best
Belfast,
screenplay for Belfast. And I think that was really, really well deserved, because that was really well written. It was really well played. It was just a beautiful
It did
watch.
kind of fall away, didn't it, Belfast, from being kind of up there with Best Picture to sort of picking up the screenplay credit instead. But well deserved anyway. I enjoyed that. Did I think it was a big cinematic experience? Probably not. I liked the film, but I don't know whether it was the biggest cinematic experience for me. Look, Ellie, thank you so much for staying up continuously. I don't know how many hours more you've got to be awake before you'll finally get a good night's sleep. But really good to see you in the flesh in the studio. Showbiz journalist Ellie Phillips going through all the goss from the Oscars there. In the studio, John Pienaar. John, have you got any wisdom that you'd like to impart on us about the Oscars slap at all? Do you think it was real?
I've got to say, I listened to your conversation with the fight manager, the fight trainer earlier on the show. When I watched the slap like just about everybody else on the face of the earth now, okay, and saw it slowed down too. I was convinced it was a phony slap. I mean, he's an expert.
John.
I'm not an expert. The way that he flattened his hand and the reaction of Chris, he did not look like a guy who'd been given a good lamping across the chops to me. So I thought it was a fake. But whether it was or it wasn't, a proper slap.
Ellie is desperate to say something here.
Yeah, Will Smith is an actor, and this was the Oscars. So it was a piece of, it may have been improv theatre, but it was theatre, wasn't it?
It was theatre, but I'm not sure it's one that the Academy Awards are ever going to want to repeat again.
Really?
Let's put it that way.
Well, if you say you're the expert,
Yeah.
I thought the Academy
John
Awards
is a
would love
cynical
it.
older man, and so therefore, I mean, I was totally thinking that it was fake. I don't want to dominate the conversation with this too much, but I thought it was fake. But the body combat guys kind of convinced me otherwise.
Well, he might have landed, but Will Smith, he knew the world was watching. He is an actor, right? He's a megastar actor. And the guy on stage is a performer too. And the whole thing is a performance. So, look, maybe he was angry on behalf of his wife sitting next to him, although he grinned when the joke was first made.
Yeah.
And he grinned when the slap, so-called, was landed. For me, nothing's going to dissuade me from the fact this was a show.
Ellie's also told us that he had heard the joke in
Yeah.
some context in rehearsal. So,
really?
so it wasn't even the first time he'd
Right.
heard the joke.
I didn't know
Apparently,
that.
Yeah,
apparently.
but did you see how he reacted when he sat down? So did you see what happened after
Oh,
the
he started
slap?
yelling afterwards.
Yes.
But then that was like being in character. I'm sounding terribly cynical now.
Yeah,
but
I'm like, how are you believing this?
I'm going to call time on this. John, quickly, coming up this afternoon, I know you've got Mel Stride, some important comments from Chancellor Rishi Sunak this afternoon.
Indeed, the Chancellor's been facing lots of questions on that mini-budget last week, which went down pretty much like a lead balloon in all sides of the political spectrum. So he's been pressed on that. I'll have Mel Stride on, who was the Inquisitor-in-Chief, to give his verdict on all of that. And we're going to be looking closely at Volodymyr Zelensky's speech, which was, look, we're talking about an attention grabber. That was, on another scale, in another rather more serious way, a true attention grabber. He showed what a global statesman he is. He talked about the foundations for peace, if it ever happens, because someday it has
Yes.
to, and we're going to be talking about that around the world.
John Pienaar coming up next. Thanks to the production team on today's show. I am back
Across
tomorrow
the
at
UK
1.
on DAB